Behind me here is one of the most interesting new launches at the Düsseldorf Boat Show. This is a new Solaris Power 70 long range. It's their first flybridge model and it's got some really fascinating design ideas. So let's go and take a full look around it. My name is Hugo Andreae, you're watching Motor Boat Yachting. Let's go and take a look. So before we take a look at the inside, let's just take a moment to have a look at the outside, because as well as looking very striking, it is quite a different design. So it is called the 70 long range, and that is because it is not focused on speed and performance, it's focused on long range cruising ability. So it has a semi-planing hull, it has twin Seakeeper 10 stabilizers, and it should be good for a top speed of around about 24 knots. Now, starting price for this is 3.6 million euros ex taxes. Realistically, on the water, it's more like 5 million. But wait until you see what it looks like inside. This is a really original and very striking new model. So let's get on board. Let's start the tour then at this stern platform. And straight away, you can see we've got an enormous hydraulic section of this bathing platform. It's not quite full width. There is a little joining point here, and that whole starboard section there is all hydraulic. That will lower down into the water. Of course, gives you lovely access to the sea if you're swimming, but also enables you to launch a tender. But you don't have to keep the tender on the platform, because under this panel here, there is a great big tender garage. Now that is large enough for a 4-meter tender in there. So that should mean that it keeps it out of the way when you don't want to see it, but very easily launched using the hydraulic platform when you want to use it. Now it steps up into the cockpit on both sides. Really nice, thick, wide teak steps. Just look at the thickness on that there. Absolutely massive. Lift up there, you've got access for shore power and so on underneath that. And then up into the main cockpit area. Now, on a lot of 70-foot flybridge boats, this tends to be a slightly cramped zone. Here they've gone for a really long open aft end. Maximize the use of that outdoor space. Now, as standard, this area here is left open and empty for freestanding furniture. In this case, the client has asked for molded-in furniture and gone for a couple of facing benches. I think that's a pretty smart idea. You've got a lovely sociable arrangement here. You've got the option to shade it overhead. There is an electric canopy that extends out. That will go all the way, equally tucks up in there. And then as you move forward from that, a couple of things to point out. First of all, on both sides, we have these lockers here. And these have a very specific purpose. So I might be able to show you that one-handed, because if you open them up, you can see they are dedicated C-Bob stowage lockers. Really cool idea. And you can see we've got gas struts here to help take the weight of that. So it's not too difficult to do it even one-handed, as I've just demonstrated. One of those on each side. Just tuck it away. Equally can do that one-handed. Close it up, job done. Really love that. So many boats have C-Bobs these days, but not all of them have special dedicated lockers in order to stow them. In the middle here is the dining area, and they've done something rather clever here too. They've got a privacy blind that comes down just between these two pillars here. You can see we've got one pillar here, one the other side, electric privacy blind, lowers down. It means when you are moored stern to in the Mediterranean, for instance, you can roll that down, and then you've got a very nice private eating area, but you've still got the benefit of being outside. Another one of those C-Bob lockers on this side. Now this is the entrance to the crew cabin. As standard, that is just literally a lift-up locker in the deck. The owner of this boat wanted a better access to it, and so has put a much more substantial opening. We'll have a look down there in a minute. But in order to balance that, to keep the symmetry going, he has opted for a second box over on this side and used that to rather good effect. This is obviously not the crew entrance, but if we lift this panel up, I think I can do it one-handed. Oh, I might need to get a little bit of extra help. There we go. He's gone for a second helm station. Again, really handy when you're mooring stern to be able to stand here, maneuver the boat, looking over the platform, so you can see exactly how close you are to the quay. Since we got a bit more space, he's put storage locker in there, a little fridge down there or ice maker, and a sink here. Again, if you're picking up lazy lines, got dirty hands, really clever place to wash them. A couple of other cool features to point out in the cockpit area. You can see we've got controls for all the different moving things. There we've got the privacy awning that I spoke about earlier. That is for the aft canopy that extends out over that seating area. And this is for the drop-down TV. So if we look up there, press the button, hey presto, TV whirs down. But the really cool thing about this is that you can face it that way, or I believe if I press one of these buttons, it will actually rotate so that you can also watch TV from when you're sitting at the seats out in the cockpit. Well, that's going to knock the flowers over, so I'm going to put that back the other way before I cause any more trouble. But very cool to be able to have a TV that faces inwards and outwards, and then when you're all done, press the button again, and the whole thing folds very neatly away, and you would never know it's there. Now, we have got full walk-around decks. They were keen to make sure that this is a really safe, secure boat to move on. So look how tall these are. This is above waist height. So big, chunky lift-up cleats, but really secure, wide walkways. Opening window here, we'll look at that from inside. And then lovely big foredeck lounge right here. Now you can see how far that beam has been carried forward. This is a really big sized sort of sunbed forward. We've got teak capping all the way around, lots of lovely touches, and then a forward facing bench here with a very smart little lacquered table. Pop-up lights either side. A lot of boats have them now, but very stylish touch. Now what I should also point out is that usually on this side there is an option for a fold down platform. The owner of this particular boat didn't actually want it, but if you do have it, the platform starts about here. It lines up with this window. In fact, if you go for that, that is actually a door. That whole big section folds down. You've got an enormous terrace overlooking the sea and immediate access from the saloon. So if we go around and take a little look inside. Now, Solaris are a semi-custom yard, and the owner of this boat has gone for quite a full-on customized design. This is not the standard layout, but we'll show you some pictures of what that will look like. And one quite unusual feature is that access up to the flybridge is inside, so an inside staircase, but because it's very close to this sliding door here, it's almost the same. The other thing that they've really focused on is making sure that everything is at the same level. So you'll notice as we walked around that side deck, all on one level, and indeed straight into the saloon, all on one level, keeps it very easy to move around. So the normal layout is that you would have a stern galley here. In this instance, the owner wanted masses of refrigeration and a galley that runs all the way along that port side. Now, when I say masses of fridges, I really mean it. So you've got a full height fridge freezer on this size, including that section down there. You've got 2 wine coolers over there, and we have 4 more fridge drawers over here. All of these are fridges or freezers. So clearly that is not the standard layout, but if you want it, you can have it. Now, here we go. Here are some pictures of what is a more typical layout. So here you can see the stern galley layout in this area here next to the door, and then you've got a bigger lounge area here, and this shows the opening door and that folding platform. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what the standard layout might be. But the advantage, I think, of this particular one he's chosen is that you really get a good feeling of space, because there's nothing sort of blocking your way. There's no returns on any of the sofas or any of the kitchens. You just have this lovely open space leading through the boat. Very stylish glass table here. Again, that's very much open to choice. And masses more storage along here on this one. You can see you've got the dishwasher down there. Big sink. And this is in fact the cooking area. I know you wouldn't know it. It looks just like a worktop. But if you look very closely, you can see the buttons to switch it on there. And these little rings in here are in fact induction rings. So it's very stylish, very concealed Italian galley that is all integrated into that side there. But this is normally where you'd have the big opening door and that folding balcony. In this case, you've got a big drop-down window. You can see I'm not going to go all the way, but that whirs up and down from there. And then coming through into the helm station, we've got a pantograph style door that swings open. So you've got plenty of fresh air when you're sitting at the helm. In this case, he's gone for a single helm seat, really sort of secure, supportive. Standard layout is more of a bench here. Once again, that's been fully customized for this particular owner. Nice clean helm station design, triple screens. It is on Volvo IPS drives. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we have a look in the engine room, but standard twin Volvo throttles, joystick, and a bow thruster down there too. Over on this side, bit of a storage unit, nothing much to show you in there. And then down into the lower accommodation deck, which gets really quite wild down here. So very nice light pale woods everywhere. 4 different cabins down here. So we're going to start in the full beam owner's cabin. And this is really quite glitzy. We've got lots of lights going on in here. Big windows in the hull. Smart wood framed TV on the wall there. Sofa down there. But this is where it starts to get really quite glitzy. We've got a walk-in wardrobe, fully lit. Glass doors on the wardrobe. Perspex see-through shelves. LED lighting everywhere. Feels a little bit like you're entering the hall of mirrors, but it is very bright, very cool. It's a little bit hard to tell where the actual back of anything is. That is actually a mirror there, but because you've got this effect of bouncing back and forth, it feels like you're in a kind of infinity mirror room. Over here we've got the vanity unit, another big round mirror above that. Quite enough of seeing me in the picture. More drawers down here, but this is where it gets really quite cool. That there is actually a mirror through into the shower. Not necessarily, I don't think my wife would go for that. And they have put a little privacy screen in there. You can see there is a sort of blind that whirs up and down. Very similar here, glass door into the bathroom. Love this backlit marble effect here, super cool. You can brings out all the sort of colouring in the veins. You can see exactly what's going on. Hull window there. Big electric loo, and here is that particularly funky shower. Got sort of strips of different coloured marble going on here. There's that window through into the bedroom. No door at all, you'll notice, just channels in the floor so that the water drains away. Quite cool. Not necessarily going to be to everyone's taste, but you've got to admire the quality of the finish and the adaptability of the design. Now we've got a small single bunk on this side. Not a crew cabin. My goodness, that is really very narrow, but you can just about tuck your feet in there. There's a bit of storage behind the glass here. Then forward, we've got a double on the starboard side. Actually, pretty decent sized cabin. It is up against the hull side rather than a full walk around bed, but perfectly decent sized bed. Storage behind here. Now, normally you would have a second access into the bathroom, so you would have ensuite access to the bathroom. Again, the owner has gone for something a little bit different. He's got a pop-up desk so that you can sit at the desk there and do a bit of work. And this is the bathroom that it would normally have ensuite access to. So the standard layout would be to have Jack and Jill style doors, so you can use it as a day heads and an ensuite bathroom. Actually pretty decent size in here. Got a whole window behind that curtain, another of those cool backlit sinks, and a good sized shower in the corner. And then moving further forward into the VIP. Now this is where that beam forward design really helps. You've got a full king size bed in there, plenty of floor space all around it. Hull windows on both sides with opening ports. Big mirror above the bed. Plenty of storage over on this side. Another one of these sort of cool vanity units with a big circular backlit mirror and more illuminated shelves. Another big glass hanging locker in there. And of course, that has its own ensuite bathroom over on this side. Shower in the corner, backlit sink, loo behind the door. Very cool design. But there is yet more to see. Let's go up, back up those stairs, and go and have a look at the flybridge. So the only access is through this internal staircase rather than outside, but it's a nice wide shallow steps, strip lighting in all the steps too, and then up to the flybridge. For security reasons, the access to the flybridge has a sliding glass panel that is electrically powered that just slides across. So this is all secure and of course weatherproof, given you've got that internal staircase leading up to it. On the starboard side, we've got a great big wet bar, another full-size induction hob here, really decent sink, fridge underneath, lots of storage. And then moving forward from here, we've got a sun pad that wraps right around the helm position. So rather nice if you're lying under there, you've got the protection from the screen, so it should be very nicely sheltered from the breeze. But also rather fun if you are helming the boat, you can lie out there and chat to whoever's driving at the time. We've got a full hardtop overhead. You can see the carbon fiber supports. Check that out. That is the real deal. And then the hardtop overhead has revolving slats in it. If you look up here, we can see those revolve electrically, so you can get a nice sort of dappled shade down below. Enormous dining table here, beautifully lacquered, high gloss finish. That obviously folds over. I'm not going to do that one-handed. It feels a bit too heavy and a bit too precious to do, but you can see that it folds over if you want to use it more as a coffee table, and the whole thing will sink down. That is on electric pedestals too. Helm position here, fairly flat looking bench, but means there's plenty of space for 3 or 4 people to sit facing forwards. Repeat of all the instruments. I won't talk you through all those. You can see that. And then as you make your way aft, they've gone for another of these big open areas where you can bring in your own sun loungers. You can have sort of teak sun loungers or freestanding furniture or whatever you want. But really big space this. It's very, very wide, stretches all the way out to the full beam of the boat. We've got a shower over here. This is a shower unit, and we've got the controls for the high-low table and the overhead sun slats, and more of these little pop-up lights and backlit cup holders. So really good big space up on the flybridge that is very much open for customization, exactly how you particularly choose to use it. I promised you a look at the crew cabin, so let's lift up this hatch. Rather remarkably, I can do that one-handed too. They've been very good about fitting gas struts to all these heavy mouldings so that you can do it relatively easily. Quite a steep staircase down. That drops down. Oh, nearly slipped. You can see we've got a washer-dryer configuration here, a single bed, and an ensuite shower station. And rather cleverly, if I spin round and come back this way, there is actually hidden access to the engine room. So these steps, which are a little bit heavier, but they're on struts too, that swings up. And you can see we have got a watertight door that leads through into the engine room. So with any luck, we can go straight through here and take a look at the engines. So we have twin IPS 1350s. It is a semi-planing hull design, so with these twin 1,000 horsepower engines, it should be good for about 24 knots, I'm told. But this is called long range for a reason. It has these great big fuel tanks here, and I'm told that the estimated cruising range is around 900 nautical miles at 12 knots. So it's not designed to be a rapid planing boat. It's designed to get you there in comfort and, crucially, with a really long range without having to refuel. Let's finish up this tour of the Solaris Power 70 sitting in this fascinating aft cockpit area. I've been really impressed by this boat. There's some very original thinking going on. It's a really good looking boat. It's a little bit hard to tell what it's going to look like in the more sort of standard variant, but I would love to see it with a platform down, the doors open, and so that you really get a feel for what that saloon would be like. But what this does show is how impressive they are at adapting to the customer's needs and producing a semi-custom yacht. So do let me know what you make of it in the comments. I think this is a particularly interesting one, and I would love to hear your opinions on it. And as always, thank you very much for watching.